Now, as we begin proper business structure, what are some basic professionals that you're going to need to have on your staff and part of your team? One would be a lawyer. There's always a time when you need to have documents approved and looked at. Even when I give you a list, a mammoth list about this many in forms, you still need to have them looked at because you may be in a state different than Missouri. You may have a business structure different than mine. So you need to look and see, are those legal that you're going to be using? So a lawyer is one person you definitely want to have on staff. Your CPA is the next person that you need to have. Even if you do your taxes now, you want to take on information on if you're planning on buying your business or building your business that you're going to pass on to your children or that you plan to build and sell. There's different structures that you might want to have in place today before you start accumulating property that you need to know so that when you exit the game, you're not hit with a huge tax liability. Other one would be third-party administrators or self-directed IRA companies. If you're going to deal and work with moving your own money or you're moving other people's money into a position where they may be able to be a private bank for you, those are always good companies to know, and there's several that we recommend. Other people that you may want to have on your team are website developers, people like that, or logo people that are branding of those type marketing people. Those are always good people to have on your team. Now, as you get into setting up your business structure, there's a few things that you want to do just to make sure that you're not kind of backstepping. One would be the name. When you and your wife or spouse or business partner create a name, there's some things that you want to do in order to see if it's even available. One thing would be the quick search is to go to GoDaddy or any type of website domain name registries in order to see if the name that you have chosen is even available. I would say you might want to go ahead and purchase that when it happens, because I've been told that some people, when you go to search a name, they purchase the name and then have you come out and buy it. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But one thing you want to do is check the name and see if it's available in your state or in states that you plan to operate in. The next one that you would go to is the Secretary of State for you that has a name registry of existing businesses already in your state or the states that you hope to operate in. See if that name is available for you. Once you've done that, then you know that the name that you've chosen is available. The next state you would want to do is visit with your CPA and lawyer to see what business structure would serve you best. Now we're going to look and talk about a few different business structures so that you have the ability and be aware of some of the things that you can choose to operate in. One thing I recommend is never operate in your personal name. Now, you may have to do that when you first start out because your structures haven't been established, or you may have already done that and you find out, oh, that's not a good idea. Why? Because we live in a time when people love to sue people. So all of your income and money may be at risk if you operate and purchase property in your own personal name. So as soon as possible, you can set up a structure that gives you protection as you operate in the state where you're operating today. So one of the first things you want to do is meet with that lawyer and a CPA to find out what structure is going to best suit you, as well as when you have a business plan, how many properties do you plan to acquire? Are they going to be strung out in different states? Are they going to be in one zip code? Those are things that you need to understand how you wish to proceed. Now, I would start with the lawyer because the lawyer is going to help you find the structure. And there's usually two different types of business structure you want to be in, as a limited liability company or incorporated, whether you're a C Corp or S Corp. Now let's just kind of look at that. Some options that you may pick that you may not know of is a sole proprietor. You would say, oh, that's easy to do, it's easy to get set up, but that often offers very little protection in today's society. The other one would be a general partnership. A general partnership is, say, where two people come together, and that is one of the worst situations you can be in also because you're both liable for the other person's activity, and that's probably not something you want to do. So those two you can pretty much scrap to the side as an option that you would have as a business structure. The other two you might want to look at is to incorporate, and it offers many tax write-offs that you could have, and a lawyer and a CPA will walk you through some of those. And the two basic structures that you're going to have as incorporated is an S Corp or a C Corp. A C Corp is more your traditional large corporation where you can have numerous investors, and you may want to go one day and put it on as a stock exchange where you're raising money. The other one is an S format, sub S chapter, where that flows through your personal tax income statement, and that gives you where you're only paying tax one time. The C Corp, you're going to be taxed as your corporation, you're going to be taxed as an individual when you pull the money out. But that's just real brief on those two aspects of the choices you may want to take. The other one would be an LLC, a limited company or limited liability company. Those provide great protection, and they're a lot less paperwork driven annually as far as having business meetings that you have to record and keep minutes of, so they're typically easier to operate. They don't carry all the tax write-offs that a corporation may have, but you can also elect to have your LLCs taxed as a corporation or not. So there are those aspects that you need to have looked at. You want to have a lawyer to provide the documents that you need to file with the Secretary of State. They're generally going to file your articles of incorporation, which says how do you plan to run this business and what business field or area do you want to concentrate in. They will also generally apply for your EIN number, which is your employee identification number. It's kind of like your Social Security number for your business. You must have that in order to open a business account, which is something that you're going to do later on down the line. So once you have filed, you've got your articles of incorporation, then you're going to need either bylaws for your corporation or you're going to need an operating agreement for your LLC. And both of those documents basically say who has the power in order to bind your corporation or company and can enter into contract agreements. Those are going to be outlined by this operating agreement, which is anywhere from 10 to 15 pages generally, and it talks about who is the makeup of your company, how people are elected, how you conduct your business, where you can conduct your business, and so forth. So those are items that you want to have done professionally by someone who understands what you're planning to do and how that covers you in the structure that you're looking to have. Now, once that is accomplished, the next step that you want to do is to provide all the branding information for that. You want to open up a bank account in a bank that typically is local for you. I'd like to choose smaller banks where you can get in and begin to see the president or vice president who will be interested in allowing you to do the type of operations you're looking for, maybe flipping or buying and hold. And typically with banks, I usually had 3 banks. When I grew my business, it was a time of all the banks gobbling up one another. So I always had 3 banks where if one bank got shut down, I could immediately continue, but just increasing my credit lines on those other banks. Now, a local bank is more apt to give you that ability to do the things that you're looking to do, and they will use more of a common sense approach to approving you and your loan and so forth, as opposed to a larger chain bank where you're going to be simply a number, you're going to be fed into an equation, and it's going to kick out a yes or no. And typically, they're not going to be friendly in flipping of that nature. Typically, I keep 2 banks. One bank is for my revolving flip properties, and another bank is for the hold properties. Generally, one bank won't do both for you. So just get in a habit that you're going to have multiple checking accounts and that you have to manage that. But that's okay. We'll get into that a little later. A little bit into the branding. Immediately once you have your company name and what you're doing, you want to get business cards that reflect your business name, that tell in detail what you do. You may want to offer a bonus on the back if they referred you, business and so forth. And all your contact information on there, of course, your website if you have one, your email address, and how they can contact you, what cell phone name or any other information that you may need. And get thousands of business cards. You want to pass those out to anyone you see. You want to let everybody know right off the bat that you're in business and things are working for you. You may want to pick out your colors. What colors are going to brand to you? And begin to get the logo work done at Fiverr or some other place online that's going to create a logo for you. Begin to start thinking about how your perception will be seen. Is it easy to read? Do you have a name that is, 10 miles long where you go giving somebody your email address and it's hard phonetically to spell over the phone? Or will they get it? Or will they be able to spell a unique name or your last name? Kind of like Grimmett, Grimmett. 2 M's, 2 T's. But some people want to put an ITT. So those things you have to consider when you go making and branding your company. But make sure you do it fast, and do it efficiently, because you want to get this out to the public that you're in business. Then you want to begin to have systems in place. How are you going to make this business where it's automated and that it can be duplicatable and that you can run it from any part of the world that you're in as long as you have internet access? So what goes into that? Well, you have to have a website. Most generally you will. Will your platform need to run on some cloud platform where you can access it? Will you be able to have all your documents stored in a situation like a Dropbox or something along that line, where you can access it at any time, or you're in the middle of a closing and you need a particular document that you can pull off and have printed off right there in the title company? Those aspects you have to think about in the society that we're in that's fast-paced and moving all the time. How are you going to do some type of contact management? How will you stay in touch with all of the people that you're doing? REI Black Book is a program that we use, and it was birthed out of St. Louis years ago, that works hand in hand with real estate investors most generally. It does a lot of things that you're going to need already in one package. So those are some things that you want to look at as far as structuring and systematizing your business. And then record keeping. How will you keep records? Will you fax them in or scan them in into a location? Or how do you keep them on site? So that it can be pulled up constantly. Those are the things that you want to look at as far as business structure, your systems in place, and then how to get started in your business. Now, there's items that we have that you'll see in your action list of things that you need to do immediately. Of those things that you're looking at, we're looking at your personal financial statement. It's an electronic statement that you create that banks are looking for, that basically puts your asset, your liabilities down, and it generates a net worth of what they can expect to have, and it kind of gives them a snapshot picture of what you are and what you own right now in case they need to take something back. That's exactly why they want to have it. But we have a generic plan that we email to you electronically. You can fill out. The companies may want it on their very own statement, but it all lists the same information. The budget sheet that we use in order to generate what are your current expenses that you're having right now, so that we understand how many properties you need to generate or hold in order to meet your passive income equal to your expenses over time. And then we generate a 4-page business plan for the banks as we go in. We want to look very professional. We want to look like we have it together. So it's just a chronology of the basic business structure, what you hope to do, the amount of money that you hope to get from them. It also includes your personal financial statement. 2 years, or actually now they say 3 years worth of tax returns are all kind of neatly put together in a little 1-inch binder that we present to the bank. And then we have our goals. We outline our life goals, our strategies we're looking for in life, and our 1-page business statement. Those are the action items you can look for to find in this stage of the game. I'm going to want to see your business cards and your branding to this point. So those are some of the items that you can look forward to and seeing your action list that'll be associated with your student workbook as it goes forward in the section of proper business structure. Thank you, and I'm excited to see you get started.